just want you to know that there's people out there like me who've been through it, and you can get through it too. And that there's a lot that you can do in this world. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that's really near and dear to my heart. And I really felt led that our family should create this vlogging channel. Some of you know we have another YouTube channel, Shelbert99, and that's primarily on that channel we've documented our youngest daughter Jenny is a competitive gymnast, and we've documented her gymnastics journey over the years. So I felt really prompted that I wanted to share about experiences that I had with postpartum depression. We have 5 children. The first 4 are close in age. The oldest was just barely 6 when we had the 4th child. And then our youngest came about 4.5 years later. So in about 10 years time, we had 5 kids. So we had them one at a time. A lot of people assume maybe we had twins in there somewhere, but we didn't. We just had one at a time. And we wanted each of the kids that we have. So they just came when they were meant to be here. So anyway, I just wanted to share because after I had my firstborn, her name is Julie, it was really hard. And not just kind of like, oh, you know, being a new mom, losing a little bit of sleep and this and that. Like, it was horribly hard. And I suffered severely from postpartum depression after she was born. She was within the first, month or so, things just started getting really bad. And I ended up reaching out for help and being able to see a psychiatrist who put me on medication. But the point of healing from there forward was really, really difficult. I'm really grateful that Jay, my husband, was able to help me, and that I had a super supportive family. My parents actually ended up having us move into their house for a couple months. I mean, not like move our whole apartment that we had, but like stay with them for 2 months, because I just wasn't in any position to really take much care of myself or take care of a newborn baby. And so I will forever be grateful for that, and the support of my husband too was phenomenal. He had a really deep and great understanding of dealing with my depression, as he had dealt with that with a family member when he was growing up. So he was really understanding, and I'm really grateful for that. But there's a lot of you out there that don't have that kind of support. And so I just wanted to share that if this is something that you're struggling with, or that you experienced, or you're experiencing, that it's okay, and that there is hope. And on our vlog channel, our kids are older. A lot of vlog channels we notice have really young families. They're just starting out, maybe newlywed, just for starting to have their babies, grow their family. And we have all our children. We have 2 young adult kids, we have 2 kids in high school, and then Jenny is in the 6th grade. So we're in a little bit of a different phase of life. But I wanted to share, because not only did I have postpartum depression with the first baby, but I had a really bad depression while I was pregnant with the second baby. Even though I was primarily over the depression, the postpartum depression per se, when I became pregnant the second time, all the hormonal shifts and changes and things like that just kicked everything, just was over the edge for me. So I ended up having a really bad depression while I was pregnant. So she just turned 20, and at that time they wouldn't give me any medication for it. I couldn't take a prescription. So I went to counseling, I went to therapy, and I learned a lot how to cope and manage stress, and I just had to grit my teeth and get through it the best that I could. Again, I had a really supportive family, but it was crazy difficult. It was super hard. It was the summer of '96 actually, because she's born in September, and it was during the Olympics. I remember laying on the couch feeling miserable and watching the Olympics, and that was kind of like one of the highlights of that summer, because it was so hard. But anyway, then when I had my third child, I had recovered. Oh, let me back up. So when I had Rebecca, when I had her, I didn't have the postpartum depression after I had her, and I was really grateful. It was great. And then when I had the third baby, I had it again, and that was really a blow. It was really, really hard, and had two little ones, and then a third one. Let me see. Becca was like 3.5 when I had the third one, so she was a little over 3.5. So we really had our hands full, and so it was a challenge. But this time I went quicker to my OBGYN when it started getting worse, even though she was a few months old actually by the time it really hit, like completely hit. And with Julie it was sooner with the first one. But anyway, I got on medication and just learned those skills that I'd been learning over the past few years to help myself manage. And then when I had the fourth one, I had some of it again, but we caught it really, really fast, and I got on medication super quick. So when I had the fifth baby, they actually put me on medication in the hospital. They started me on an antidepressant in the hospital before I even came home. So I'm really grateful that I had a doctor who was really thoughtful about it and tried to be proactive. Now there's some people who say, well, why would you keep having babies if you have this really hard time? But I knew if it was going to happen again, that it was something that was treatable and that I could work through. It's kind of like some women have horrible morning sickness when they're pregnant, but you know, they know that it's worth it in the end. You know, they'll be able to get the help they need to help manage while they're going through it. And I guess that's how I felt with this. And it wasn't always a given every time that it was going to happen, because it didn't happen every time. But when it did happen, I knew that there was hope and that I could get help. And the first time that I went through it, I promised God, because I have strong faith, and my faith was actually shaken quite deeply when I first went through the first time with my first baby. But I promised God that if I was ever able to help anyone at any time to be able to manage postpartum depression, that I would. And so even though that baby now is going to be 22 years old later this year, I just thought that I would take the opportunity and take this forum and take this powerful platform to be able to share some of my thoughts and my feelings about my experiences. I think it's really important as a worldwide community, and we have things like YouTube and the internet, that we can connect with people from all over the place, that we just take the chance to love each other, to support each other, because life can be really, really hard. Having little babies, having little kids is tough. It's really tough. It's a lot of work. And someone told me years ago, having little ones is really physical work, and having teenagers is emotional. And I can testify that's pretty much true, but it's really emotional for the mom when you have a newborn and you have postpartum depression and you're just really feeling awful. So if you're having symptoms of depression and you've just had a baby in recent months, even within the last year, I would really encourage you to go talk to your OBGYN, talk to your family doctor, reach out to a minister or someone in your church or a close family friend or a relative. Tell them that you're having a hard time, and just don't keep brushing it under the rug and think that it's just going to magically get better without some kind of intervention. And I'm not saying what your intervention has to be, but I know for me, counseling and therapy was super helpful and medication was super helpful. And there were times when I could only do one or do the other, or I did a combination of both. But there is hope and there is help. And I'm telling you, 22 years later, it's been such a joy to see these kids grow up, and having 2 young adult kids now, and see them flourish and take off in the world and do things. And at the time I was going through all of it, and it was so incredibly difficult. I just couldn't see that. I couldn't see that many years ago. And I remember at one point saying to my husband, I don't know why God is making this happen to me. And he said, He's not making it happen to you. He's allowing it to happen to you. And I still remember that all of these years later. So if you have a faith or whatever, wherever you stand in this world, I think that the greater universe allows things, and for me, I identify that with being God. But however you view it, that things are allowed to happen to us for experience, and they help us grow, and they help us learn, and they help us know how to love and support each other. And I just want you to know that there's people out there like me who've been through it, and you can get through it too, and that there's a lot that you can do in this world. And that little one that you're holding and nurturing and crying over and really struggling with, they won't be tiny forever. They'll grow up and they'll get bigger and they'll go do their own good in the world, and you have just this little window of time to take care of them. So you want to feel well and be able to enjoy the experience, because it goes by so fast. It really does. So anyway, I just wanted to share those thoughts and those feelings with you, and I really appreciate you. And if you've been able to sit and listen through this whole thing, I'm really, really glad and grateful. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them in the comments below, and let us know if you've had any experiences like this, or send me a message, and do what I can to support you back. So take care, guys. Bye.